Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is all about what is being hidden from you. So we're going to see what is being hidden, removed from your awareness, what you need to know about. We're getting into all of it. And today we have a selection of different cards for you to choose from. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Basically, you're going to see which of these cards is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. By the way, if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, then be sure to head to my Patreon to watch all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about your future life with your spouse or your next relationship, as well as a brutally honest reading about your relationship or your current connection. So if you want a brutal dose of reality, that's a great one to watch. But there are so many readings to choose from over on Patreon. Like I said, over 95. So if you're interested in signing up and joining me over there, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description, and I would love to see you on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you want a psychic reading, tarot reading, an astrology reading, a combination of all three, whether you want it to be a shorter 30-minute reading or a full hour-length reading, you get to customize your session, so it's the perfect session for you. So like I said, if you're interested, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Now, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey Pile 1, welcome to your reading. So you guys got the Nine of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, Five of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. So what's interesting is a lot of these are money cards. So someone may be hiding some money from you. Someone may be not letting you on the extent of their financial situation. They may be telling you like, oh, I can't afford that, or oh, I don't have the money for that. And secretly deep down, they do. So for some reason, someone may be being dishonest with you about their finances and kind of like hiding things, brushing certain things under the rug. It could even be like you go to your boss for a raise and you say, you know, I'd really like to be making X amount. And they say, oh, we don't have that in the budget, but they do. Another way this could be interpreted is people trying to hide things from like your potential from you. They could be trying to hide your gifts, your ability, and the fact that you have some kind of amazing new opportunity, or maybe even trying to make you doubt your ability to succeed, because again, we have so many amazing financial cards, and the Nine of Pentacles is a lot of financial success. The Ace of Pentacles can be a really beautiful new opportunity when it comes to starting a business, a new career. So I almost feel like there could be someone in your life who's trying to like tamp down that enthusiasm and make you question yourself, make you doubt yourself. Maybe they don't feel comfortable if you were just completely like leaned in, glowed up, knew your worth. And so this person may be trying to kind of like pop holes in your ego, so to speak. Like, oh, let me make them question themselves. Let me make them doubt themselves. I don't want them going full steam ahead. I don't want them operating under full power. And I feel like for you guys, there is a message here of being worth more than you're being shown, whether that is the like job that you're at who's lying to you and saying, oh yeah, like we don't have that in the budget to give you that raise, whether that's maybe you have a partner who is like, oh, you know, I can't afford to take you out to that nice meal, and they actually totally could, whether that is someone in your life, a close friend, who every time you ask for reassurance, instead they say, no, you're not, oh, come on, you're not that, you starting a business? Oh my God, you're like the spaciest person I know. Or maybe it's not even that specific, but like they are constantly undercutting you or making little digs, and you find your confidence lagging with them, or you feel yourself questioning yourself around this person. Either way, I feel like the common thread is what is being hidden from you is the extent of your power and your potential. This could even be you self-sabotaging with some kind of like idea, some kind of economic opportunity. So if you wanted to start a business, if you have wanted to like do something different with your career and you feel like there's a lot of potential there, but you keep hiding it and brushing it under the rug, like this own you hiding it from yourself, almost like self-sabotage energy. I could also see that for this pile. I feel like in a way, this could also be for some of you guys, someone who keeps you distracted with fighting with the Five of Wands in order to prevent you from realizing your full power. So someone who is not really comfortable when you're just like 100% operating on your best level. So they might start fights, they may start conflict, they may start little petty like distractions, you know. It could even be that friend that's always like starting drama or like asking you like, let's go party, let's hang out. And if you're like, well, I wanted to like work out tonight and then I'm going to go to bed early and then I wanted to get into work early, they're like, no, that's lame, you got to go party. Something like that. There could be someone that just doesn't feel comfortable when you are as powerful as you are. Let me get into some additional cards for you. Pile number one. We're gonna go with this deck next. So what is being hidden from pile number one? What is being hidden from pile number one? Okay, so we got currents of emotion, uncontrolled feelings. This one is connections, partnership, contract, commitment, animal totems, animal energy, and powers. Let's get one final card. What is being hidden from pile one? What is being hidden from pile one? Relaxation, peaceful pursuits, happy times. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like there are people in your life that pile one, like, they don't want you relaxed like this. They do not want you just chilling out and living your best life. They don't want you feeling completely glowed up. I feel like these people, it's almost like there may even be someone who like cares about you so much, but has a very dysfunctional way of feeling that and has a very dysfunctional viewpoint of things. And they're afraid that if you are as powerful as you are, if you had your full energy level, if you had your full like power behind you, that you would leave this person behind. They may feel a little bit overwhelmed with their emotion. I could even see this pile, some of you guys, being there is someone who is hiding their full feelings for you, like not letting on to you how much they like you. Like this could be someone around you that says, you know, like it's almost like one of those boyfriends who I always think that's so funny when you see, or like at a wedding when you see them cutting the cake and the cake figurines are the wife, the bride dragging the groom onto the cake and everyone will laugh, or the guy, the groom, will make a joke about like, oh, the ball and chain, oh, my wife, oh, well, she forced me into the marriage. And I'm always like, what? And then sometimes you find out that like if she was to actually be like, well, I'm filing for divorce or I'm leaving, he would be like beside himself, desperate, because he actually really does want her, but he also likes the advantage of being able to be like, oh, I'm not that into her, she begged me, you know. That's like an ego thing as well. And I feel like for some of you guys, this could be someone who protects their ego by not letting you on their emotions or how much they care about you, not letting you on to how much they feel like they need you and feel dependent on you, feeling vulnerable when those emotions come up. So they kind of try to like pop holes in your balloon and kind of tries to deflate you and make you feel less than you actually are. Tries to even like stress you out or make you worried about a million things, make you like just in a negative emotional state so that you're not able to fully see the lay of the land and see your power. Because I feel like this person is afraid, because they do see you as so amazing, that it's like if pile number one really gets this and figures this out and takes their power back, they may not choose to be with someone like me. Yeah, and we also got animal totems. I feel like in a way, I'm almost getting the vibe this is only going to apply for some people, but there could even be a vibe around animals where like someone might try to tell you like, oh, you know, my dog hates you or something, or like, oh, you're not that good with animals, or And this doesn't have to be the only thing it has to do with, but it could be that's how they are with everything. Like as soon as you mess up, they may make a joke. Like if you're out and you pass a dog on the street and the dog barks at both of you, they may say, "Oh, that dog hates you," or like, "Ugh, there it is again. Animals hate you. What's wrong with you? Ooh, why do animals dislike you?" And you're like, "They don't," and it gets to you. But like I feel like there's some energy of that where someone just kind of is giving secret hater vibes, or that they're not actually a hater, but they want to like get under your skin, or they want to like get you going. You know what I mean? Let me get some more tarot for you. Pile 1. What is being hidden from pile 1? The Ace of Wands. Okay. What is being hidden from pile 1, Spirit? The King of Swords. What is being hidden from pile number 1? The World. The Ace of Swords. Okay. The Three of Pentacles. And let's get a couple more. The Nine of Cups reversed, and the Five of Swords. Okay, great. So, yeah, for some of you guys, I feel like this is that message about, once again, kind of knowing your worth, or not really realizing your potential, not really seeing that there's something that you can do that would be so powerful. We got the World card. We also got the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Whenever we get the aces, those are such powerful new starts, new ideas. It can be, especially the Ace of Swords, a new idea. The Ace of Wands can be like a powerful new start. We had gotten the Ace of Pentacles. That could be a powerful new business or career. So I feel like there's something in you that is like so powerful, pile 1. Like it's almost like you can do anything you put your mind to. You have so much potential. And I feel like you're also very relentlessly curious with the Three of Pentacles, but it's giving me the vibes of like someone that, if you've ever had a person around you, friend or frenemy, or someone that like, if you make the slightest mistake, like say you're at trivia night and everyone's guessing and you throw out a random idea, and then that person would like make fun of you, or they would be teasing you about it throughout the night, or, you know, making jokes about like, "I can't believe you got that wrong." And it can really chip away at your own confidence and self-esteem. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening here. Like there's an energy of this person just being very scared of like, what will happen if pile number 1 really realizes how strong they are? What will happen if pile number 1 finally gets the picture of exactly what a powerhouse they are and how people see them? So I feel like whoever this is, they want to hide your potential. This could even be you hiding it from yourself, or you hiding yourself away and not wanting to access that. This could be an idea that Spirit has put in your mind and Spirit really wants you to pursue, and you not doing that. I also feel like this person, whoever they are, they may feel more comfortable with letting you question yourself, or feeling not that smart, maybe even putting themselves up as being more smart than you, with that King of Swords energy coming out. The King of Swords is like the very wise, old, intelligent figure of the deck. So I feel like for you, this person, it's almost like they may like to put you down to assuage their self-esteem and make themselves feel better. They may even try to engage you in like tiny little small fights, or if you mention something offhandedly like, "Oh yeah, you know, did you know that, I don't know, like did you know that figs come from like bees in the inside of some plant," or whatever. Like, so I think I'm butchering that fact, but I think I heard that figs contain wasps or something like that, and that's part of like how a fig grows, or I don't know. I think I also heard cashews grow on the top of apples. Now, none of those facts may be true. I don't know. We'll go with the cashew apple one because it's the one that makes the most sense to me. But anyway, you could say that, and whether it's true or not, that person, instead of just being like, oh, cool, or like, that's interesting, I feel like they might double down and like question you every single detail. Like, what do you mean cashews come from apples? And go out of their way to try to make you seem dumb. Even if you meant it like lightheartedly, you weren't giving a lecture, you weren't at college, you weren't, it wasn't like a professional setting. You were just like making conversation. I feel like this is the kind of person that they would want to see you dot your I's, cross your T's, and make sure everything is so perfect to the point where it can really get under your skin and make you start questioning yourself. And it's almost like nothing you say is good enough, or nothing you say makes them get off your back, and they just need to know more and more and more and get all these details. And so I feel like there is that danger that it may chip away at you. It may make you really question yourself and not have that confidence that I feel like you're supposed to have, especially because you do have all these beautiful, powerful cards that can talk about all your potential. We have got so many aces, like all different types of cards that we got the aces in, with the swords, the wands, the pentacles. So those are really powerful energies. Aces are such powerful cards. And I feel like for you, you also got the World card. There's an energy here of success. There's an energy here of potential and power and achieving something. And it's just sad that this person doesn't seem to want to have you know that. This person doesn't seem to want you to realize your own potential and how much success you do have headed your way, or you would have if you did embrace this. So there is an energy of someone who's just trying to hold you back and kind of doesn't want you to like realize everything that you bring to the table, pile number one. Let me get into some more cards for you. Oops, sorry, I just dropped my hair clip on the ground. Let me get some more cards for pile one. What messages do they need to hear right now about what's being hidden from them? Karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. So this could be from a karmic relationship. And yeah, if there's unhealed karma, then that person may even have it as like a soul mission of like, I'm going to get them back. I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to make sure they pay this lifetime. So sometimes we think, oh my gosh, there's a karmic relationship here, past life connection, but maybe it's unfinished business. Maybe that person was your enemy in another life. Maybe it's not such a beautiful sunshine and roses situation, and it may not be quite as happy as we may like to think of it as. So it's always important to remember that we can get a lot of growth out of those karmic relationships, so there can still be value. But I feel like you also need to be very aware of how you feel. And that's a good question to ask yourself whenever you're dealing with someone, is like, how do I feel after this interaction? Do I feel happy? Do I feel regenerated? Do I feel drained? Do I feel slightly angry? Do I feel resentful? Do I feel happy, joyful? Do I feel supported? Have I literally, this is a big thing to pay attention to, have I glowed up physically when I'm around this person, or since I've been with them? Do I look better being around them, or do I look worse? Do I look happier and brighter and more rested, or do I look exhausted and depleted? Because we do want to pay attention to where our energy is flowing. And if the energy is just leaving us, and we're not regenerating it, that can be a big problem for ourselves physically as well. And honestly, it's partially doing tarot readings that taught me that like, I swear, if I was wearing like a Fitbit or a tracker of calories or something, which I don't wear them because I'm worried about the like Wi-Fi or whatever it is, the EMF, but I feel like if you were wearing those all the time, you would notice doing tarot readings like a spike in calorie usage, because truly after I do a lot of tarot readings, I'm so exhausted. And I've heard that from other tarot readers, also other psychics and mediums that do private readings. So why am I bringing that up? My point is that when it looks from the outside, you would say, oh, that person's just sitting in a chair the whole time. They're not even moving. They're just chilling. Like, they're going to feel fine. And I've heard from so many people, even people who maybe they were thinking of starting a tarot channel, and then they'll try doing a reading and they'll be like, oh, I was so tired after. Does that happen to you? And I'm like, yes, it does happen to me. But my point is that you're not physically doing anything, but you are spiritually doing things and you still feel depleted. And it's time for all of us to really be aware of how much energy on the spiritual realm affects energy on the physical realm. So if you are always exhausted around someone, you may not even realize that your spirit guide is working up on the astral realm, or you're pouring out energy to them. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And that's why it's very important to be a little transactional and to pay attention to how you actually feel around this person. Do you feel rested? Do you feel rejuvenated? Do you feel better, or do you feel worse? Do you feel like a worse version of yourself? Let's get some more cards. Pile 1. This one is Lost Lands, Soul Memories and Gifts. You've done this before. So this definitely could be a karmic relationship. You may know this person from a past lifetime, or this may not be a specific relationship from a past lifetime, but it could be a dynamic. Maybe if you have a boss that is always invalidating you, always draining you, always calling you at all hours, maybe that you didn't know that specific person, but maybe you would overwork yourself to the point of exhaustion in other lifetimes. Maybe you were like an indentured servant or something like that in another lifetime. And that's why it's important to pay attention to sometimes those behavioral ruts we can get into. Like the South Node talks about this, because the South Node is where we were in past lifetimes, and it's where we often feel so familiar, but we're actually supposed to be stepping towards the North Node, our future life, and that actually feels so much less comfortable for us and so much more strange and so much weirder for us. Like, chances are when you look into your South Node, you've got that down. Like, I know I have a Virgo South Node, and for me, if you ask me to be a perfectionist, I'm actually so good at that. Like, I can come through and critique whatever I need to, and if you're like, okay, be very detail oriented, be very harsh, I can totally do that. If you're like, okay, go with the flow, even though I'm Pisces Sun, I'm like, I have such a hard time. And I think I even used to be like that more when I was a little child. So that's even fresher. When you're younger, you just left that other lifetime, you just left the astral plane. So it's even more of your tendency. And I bet if you went back and looked at your South Node, you'd find those same patterns of like, yes, that's where I'm familiar. That's where I know what I'm doing. But it's where the North Node is that we actually struggle, and that we're actually like, oh, this is so hard. This is so challenging. And that's actually what we're supposed to lean into, even though the South Node is going to feel more comfortable. So just a reminder that just because something in your life feels so familiar, or you had that resonance of like, wow, things were just so easy, and I just knew this person from the jump, and I just felt like I knew them forever. It doesn't necessarily mean you're supposed to step into being with them in this lifetime. It could mean that familiarity is, oh yeah, I've done that. I've been here, done that. And I don't need to continue repeating this anymore. Let me get some more cards for you. Pile 1. What messages does pile 1 need to hear? Inner Earth, you'll survive this. Oh, I love that. New solutions and beginnings. So if you have been really feeling drained by this situation and you're wanting to know what's going to happen with it, just know you will be okay. You will survive this, pile 1. Another thing about that is, again, there's so much success around you. You guys got the freaking World card, okay? The final card in the Tarot Major Arcana that signals the end of that Fool's journey, okay? And so when we get the Fool's card, it shows that there's so much potential here, and it could even show another interpretation, a major interpretation of the world, is that this is completed. It's actually a card of completion. So that could be your message as well, that if there's a situation where you do feel so depleted, or you feel like I've given to this person, I've given to this person, I've given to this person, I'm at my wit's end, or something like that, sometimes that's all you need to know. You got the 3 of Pentacles. You may have already learned everything you needed to learn out of this situation. You may already have, studied and graduated, and you got all the lessons, and you're just hanging around. Like, imagine that feeling at the end of the school year when you're a kid, when like the final bell rings and everyone's like, yes, and everyone starts streaming out of the school, and there's just this excitement in the air, and everyone's so overjoyed to go on summer vacation. Like, you're not coming back the next day to just sit and hang around the empty classrooms and just, meander around and just pack your lunch like usual and go eat it alone in the cafeteria, right? You're not going to do that, because this is done, this is completed, time for my next journey, summer vacation or whatever, going to camp or going to swim lessons, whatever you're doing that summer, but that that's done and there's nothing more here from you. And sometimes we in life, we don't get that signal. We don't get that bell ringing and all the kids screaming as like they run out of the classrooms. We don't get that like representation, that message to us of like, this is done, but we may know it in our spirit. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to those feelings and those intuitions we get. If we feel like, I just don't think there's anything here for me anymore. If we feel like, yeah, I gave it my all. And that's also very reassuring, because I think what I have found as well is there have been situations in which I'm like, okay, I think I'm done with that situation, but it will not leave my life. Like I told you guys, the time when I was stuck in this apartment, there was so much noise from this dog that I was on the freaking 8th floor. Like I was on the top floor. I knew I like hate random noises. I'm noise sensitive. Unfortunately, I wish that was not the case, but it is. So I was like, okay, perfect. I'll get a top floor apartment. Won't have to worry about anyone walking in on top of me, because I don't want to have to be mad at some upstairs neighbor that's minding their business. It's not their fault. So I was like, I'll get the top floor apartment and I won't have to worry about random noises on the street or anything. And then of course someone, because Spirit's always like, oh really? You thought? Well, let me test this lesson. Let me test how enlightened you are. So of course Spirit had someone move in right underneath me and put their dog on the balcony all day long. So this dog would bark endlessly and it would go right boomerang, like the noise off the walls, right into my apartment. It was so crazy. And it was so loud, like it was so loud. But that's the thing, is I felt like, okay, I've aligned, I've learned from this situation, but how do I get out of this like lease? How do I change this? Why am I stuck in this? And I could not understand why it was still there. And then finally one day I just get a random notice like, we've gotten your noise complaints, we're releasing you from the lease, and it was done. And it was like, oh my God, it was so easy. I didn't have to do anything and it just flowed. And honestly, because of that, I truly think it was divine timing, because of how things worked out that aligned me with my next journey in life, which I was so excited about. And so my point is that sometimes we also have anxiety of like, okay, this is going on. When am I going to be released? I'm stuck in this situation. This is so unfair. This is so scary. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. I'm just stuck. And the reality is that a lot of times Spirit may be keeping us in that situation, but that doesn't mean we're stuck. That doesn't mean that at the right moment, we're not going to be released. So I feel like you got that message that says you'll survive this, new solutions and beginnings. So if you're wondering about the timeline, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like, okay, God is just keeping me here, what the F? Like, this is a horrible situation. If you still feel like there's karmic lessons to learn, if you still feel like there's something about this, it's not ready to be released yet, I'm being continued to be in this situation, then you know what? Maybe there is another lesson for you. And accepting that, accepting the flow of it, accepting the timeline, accepting that sometimes it's not our plan, it's Spirit's plan. And yes, we do have free will, so we get to opt out of certain things, and that's totally fine. But sometimes when we're in spiritual alignment, that means we're on a journey to learn something. It's happening for our advantage, and we don't need to rush the process or be frustrated with how it's unfolding. So we also got the golden children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. I feel like there is that message for you as well, to treat yourself with the love and care that you would to a child. And also, one thing about children is like, they're so brave. That's why they're ruled by the 5th house of Leo, which is a very bold, unafraid energy. And I feel like for you, there is that message that if there's something you want to do, if there's somewhere you want to go, if there's a new thing you want to embrace in your life, have that energy of like a small child that just goes for it. When you ask a child, hey, what do you want to do for your career? You will never see a child that just says like, oh, me? Well, I'm not sure because the business school is kind of hard to get into. So I was thinking I might get like a laborer job. So I'm kind of looking at going into like plumbing, but I may be willing to go to work to get an engineering degree because that could really help. And it does pay well. And there's a lot of engineering jobs in my area, or I might have to transfer to like Dayton, Ohio, but I'm okay with that. Like, you know what I mean? You will never meet a child that talks that way. When you ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say an astronaut, the president, a ballerina, a movie star. They always are shooting for the stars. They haven't learned to like tamp down their enthusiasm and start, looking at themselves through this negative lens that a lot of us get taught as adults. And I feel like for you, there is that call to be in touch with your inner child and those dreams, and to really embrace them, and to realize your own power, to realize your own potential, and that you can do whatever you put your mind to. Pile number one, you are so capable, and all the cards speak about this, that like there's so much potential here in so many different arenas with all the different aces: Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. Like there's so many areas you can succeed in life. So I feel like for you, there is that call to not let anyone get under your skin, not let anyone make you question yourself, and to have that inner resilience, and to go for the things you want to go for. If there's something you've been thinking about doing, maybe you've been putting it off, maybe you have been like prioritizing other people over you, or just feeling too exhausted, this is an energy to realize that you have to prioritize yourself. It's also that message that I think is so amazing of, when you're in an airplane and the oxygen mask comes down, put your oxygen mask on first before helping anyone else. And I always mention this because I was reading this book about crazy different survival situations or whatever. I can't remember the name of the book. But anyway, the person said that one thing they don't tell you, because they don't want everyone to panic, but is you have approximately 10 seconds after the plane depressurizes to put your oxygen mask on. And if you don't, you will actually just pass out. So I didn't know that. I thought like, okay, you'll run out of oxygen. I used to do swimming as a child. Like I was on the swim team and stuff. So I have like swum across a pool and tried to hold my breath as long as possible. And I was like, yeah, so you have maybe 2-3 minutes, max, maybe, if you are a good breather and you have a lot of oxygen reserves, to be able to put your mask on, because you're just going to slowly run out of oxygen, right? It's going to probably leach out of the plane, and then there's no oxygen being generated, and then eventually you run out and you have to hold your breath, but you're going to have plenty of time. So I always thought they were just saying that like, oh yeah, put your oxygen mask on first, but it wasn't that serious. You could ostensibly, if you really wanted to, put someone else's mask on first and then do yours. But no, it really is that serious. If you do not put your oxygen mask on first, and you're like a mom and you're trying to get it on your toddler, you're going to only have 10 seconds. So if you pass out, that toddler, and you didn't get it on the toddler is not going to survive either. The toddler is going to pass out too. Obviously, if you're the mom, you have to put it on you do not have a choice. Because if you try to do the toddler first, you're definitely going to pass out and probably lose consciousness, and it will not be good. And if you put it on yourself first, then you have plenty of time actually to put it on the toddler or put it on anyone else in your party. But if you do not do that, and you try to be selfless and you try to think about them first, you're going to end up being so depleted and just not being able to do a dang thing for anyone. So that is a message that's coming through for you, is like, really, you need to put yourself first, pile one. You need to realize your own value. And like I said, another thing that could be being hidden from you is someone else's worth. They may not be showing you the worth they see you as, or they may even have money, resources, financial things that they're not telling you about. And if they're doing that, that shows that that person is very aware of their worth, very aware of the dynamics, very aware of the value of things, and they don't want to give it to you. That says it all. So if they're not willing to be as selfless as you are, if they're not willing to be generous with you, hey, that's all you need to know, in my opinion. That speaks volumes. So I feel like for you guys, the overall message is really to know your worth, really to trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and push yourself to prioritize yourself, and to rest, to pay attention to how you feel after dealing with people, and to really realize how much potential you have and not let anyone stand in the way of that. So that is what I have for you. Pile number one. I really hope that resonates. If you want to see more of my readings, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 95 readings that you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So you get to be the first to watch them before anyone else. I just posted a reading all about your future life with your spouse or your next relationship, as well as one about the brutal truth with this connection. So if you want some genuine honesty about whatever connection you're in, situationship, whatever, then that is a great one to watch. But there are so so many readings over on Patreon. Like I said, over 95, and you also get early and ad-free access to my YouTube videos. If you want to sign up for Patreon, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you want it to be a pre-recorded reading, a live session, a full hour-length reading, a half-hour quicker session, whether you want me to use tarot, astrology, open channeling, a combination. You get to really customize your session so it's perfect for you. If that sounds good and you want to sign up, head to the link under, or not underneath, head to the link in the description for briarrosetarot.com. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So you guys got the Eight of Cups, the King of Pentacles reversed, Princess of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Ace of Swords. So something that may be being hidden from you right now is possibly someone being ready to leave a situation behind. This person could already be planning their exit out of the situation, or this could be an indication that you need to leave the situation, but there may be something in your life that is coming to an end and is ready to kind of exit and be released. And that may not be apparent to you right now, or it may just not be something you want to acknowledge. There may be a part of you that's still holding on to this or not ready to see it, but there may be something that it's like it's time to go. And this person may already know that. They may be already planning. They may be already making moves. I also feel like with the King of Pentacles coming through, this could also be someone that is not letting you know how meticulous they are, how much they plan, how much they pay attention to detail. This could be someone who kind of plays dumb or acts like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing, or, you know, I'm not quite sure, but they really do have a plan. This could even be someone who's pretending to be more incompetent, like weaponized incompetence, pretending that they don't know how to do something, but they really do. I feel like in a way, this could be someone who's very strategic in how they operate and how they show their cards. They could be someone who kind of acts like, I'm not sure, or I don't know, or I'm clueless, but really they know. It's like that phrase, dumb as a fox, which basically means very intelligent, because foxes will play dumb, I guess, or, you know, there's certain animals that will pretend to be wounded or pretend to be not aware, but then they use that as the opportunity to go in and like get the prey that they want. And so that's why that phrase dumb as a fox exists. And I feel like that's something that's coming to my mind with the King of Pentacles reverse, is there could be someone who really does know what they're doing and is very aware. They are planning, they have this long-term vision of things, but they then act to you like, I don't know. This could even be someone who does have like a big plan that they have been putting in motion for a while, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a bad plan. It could be someone who's planning like a really elaborate birthday or a proposal or something, and they're hiding that from you. Or it could be even someone who's playing it cool in the relationship and acting like, yeah, like I'm into you on one hand, yeah, you're okay, you know, we're playing it cool, but actually deep down they see you as a long-term, you know, a long-term option for them, as like their future wife or their future husband, but they're acting like, yeah, I mean, you're okay, whatever. But yeah, the King of Pentacles, you know, it's a long-term focused energy. It's very deliberate. It's very aware. It's very focused and intentional. And so this could be someone who's not being forthcoming about that. They may be acting even younger than they are or more immature than they really are, but actually deep down, they're very aware of everything and they see everything that's going on. With the Ace of Swords as well, this could be someone hiding messages, hiding contact. This could be someone who doesn't want you to know who they've been talking to or the extent to which they've been talking, or some kind of hiding of communication in some way, especially if this is something this person has initiated. And it could also be someone who's hiding like an intention, like I said, to leave. So it could be someone who is like, I'm already kind of done with this relationship, but I'm not ready to break up yet. Or like, I'm ready to leave this job, but I'm not going to put in my 2 weeks notice yet. Or I'm just going to quit one day. or a job that is intending to fire you, but you don't know yet. I don't want anyone to freak out. Of course, it could be plenty of other good things as well. It could be someone who's like your best friend. She's planning to make a move, but she doesn't want to tell you because she knows you're going to be sad, or it doesn't have to be a bad surprise, but there could be that element of something that's ready to end, or some situation that's ready to come to an end, and you might not feel ready for it yet, or you might not be ready to like embrace that new era. Let me get some more cards for you, pile 1. What is being hidden from pile number 2? And I think I just called you pile 1, but this is pile 2. Yes, we want to know what is being hidden from pile 2. Personal guide, guardian, angel, spirit, family. I'm also feeling like there's a vibe of, for some of you guys, someone not showing you the credit that you deserve. Freedom, moving on, letting go. That energy is very strong around you with the 8 of Cups, the Death card. Now this Freedom card. Let's see. Animal totems, animal energy and powers. What is pile 2? What is being hidden from pile 2? Attachment, longing, desperation, and angels of the 7 chakras, power, truth, connection. I'm also getting a specific message for only some people, but this could be someone also who's hiding their intentions towards you, or hiding the level of their attraction towards you. This could be an ex or someone that you're not in contact with anymore. Not for everyone, so we're not going to focus on this for the whole reading, but if you haven't, I feel like some people in this reading, you may have an ex that, especially if this person is acting like everything is fine on social media, especially if they always are acting like, yeah, I'm good. Maybe they're flexing, maybe they're showing off, or maybe they are just posting like, I'm in this new relationship, I'm so happy. But I feel like they are thinking of you and they are still attached to you. This could be someone across the board, whether this is an ex or not, who's very much acting like they've got everything handled for sure. Like they are a big success, they've got everything down. And I feel like this person isn't acknowledging, first of all, how some of them are jealous of you. Like I keep getting this energy that some people see you as very powerful, or as kind of this leader. Like for some of them, they may see you as literally someone that they could learn from, literally someone that they put up on a pedestal in some way, and they see as well the attention and the focus and the energy that you get from other people. And I feel like there's an energy a little bit for some of them of being jealous, or kind of not wanting you to know your full power, or being very aware of how you're perceived versus how they're perceived, and hiding from you, wanting to hide from you that. Like it's kind of like, I mean, this is a weird example, but that girl who might always be the one who gets so much attention when they go out to the bar. Like maybe there's, the friend group and there's a bunch of cute girls, but then there's one girl that's just like a, showstopper girl. And every time she goes out, all the guys come up to her, and there may be a friend who is very uncomfortable or jealous of that. And instead of acknowledging it or being like, girl, you always get these guys, good for you, or, making light of it, or just maybe she's allowed to feel, sad, but not really saying anything, she may go out of her way to try to convince that girl who is getting the attention that like, oh, well, they're coming up to all of us, or like, oh, I mean, you look okay in that outfit, but I don't know. I think he was actually looking at Lisa, not you, or like, you know what I mean? Or being the one who the guys come up and they're trying to talk to that friend, but they like another girl cuts in front and like takes over the conversation and makes sure that she ends up being the one who kind of takes the attention, which, all's fair, I guess, in love and war. But I feel like there's a vibe of someone who sees your value or sees your potential and kind of isn't as comfortable with that, or doesn't really want you to fully know, and may even see you as a little bit of a protege, with the Page of Cups being upright, Princess of Cups being upright. There may be a vibe of you guys being a little bit of a protege to this person, and them being afraid of like the loss of their own power, with them being the King of Pentacles reversed. That's how I'm taking it. So I feel like this person may even be afraid of you finding that freedom, that self-confidence, knowing that you don't need them to help you with your journey anymore. You're good on your own. So if there's someone you have felt tied to, very attuned to, like you had to learn from them, like you had to get advice from them. I can even think of friendships I used to be in before I really felt like I stepped into my spiritual powers, where I would always have a friend who's kind of psychic, and I would call him up and ask him for advice on everything. And now I'm so glad that I found my own personal power and I can do my own readings or just use my intuition and tap into what feels right for me, because you're the only one who can really know what's right for you. You can obviously get advice and wisdom from other people and factor that in. And I still like to get, psychic readings and stuff. But I feel like when you can trust yourself, it's like that's when your full power is unleashed, and when I look back to that time, I just think I was giving my power away. Or when I would feel like, oh, I have to consult the pendulum, or I have to consult the cards every time, that to me is also like somewhat giving your power away, because the best, most powerful intuition is always going to be your intuition. And if you can just learn to meditate in that moment and like tap into it, then it's like the power is endless, and you're not dependent on anything else to give you that. It's about you and your gifts. So for some of you guys, this could even be a message about, maybe this is why that's coming through, you having really deep spiritual gifts and abilities, and you not seeing that fully, you not paying attention to that, you ignoring your own spiritual power that you have. I feel like for some of you guys, this could even be you're hiding it from yourself, or you're just insecure on it. You're not like ready to put it out in the light of day and to fully embrace it. And so maybe you give away your power sometimes by overly, like, you don't make a decision until you watch a tarot reading, or you don't make a decision until you talk to your mom, or you don't make a decision until you ask like 5 people. And the reality is, no one has your life. No one can hear your intuition. And a lot of times when you're making an intuitive decision, it really looks crazy to everyone else. It's not going to make sense in the logical. That's why I always mention, like, Pisces is opposing Virgo on the astrological plane, right? So Pisces, the planet of intuition. This is why it's in debilitation in Mercury's in debilitation in Pisces and Sagittarius, and they both oppose Gemini and Virgo, the 2 Mercury-ruled signs. Anyway, why am I bringing that up? Because the Mercury-ruled signs, especially Virgo, can be very facts and logic. Like, it's like, oh, let me make a list and let me point out all the details. And of course, that's so useful and helpful in so many ways. I always mention how many writers have Virgo placements. It's like crazy. Gemini placements as well. But when it comes to using your intuition, a lot of times that's going to come from a place that seems to make no sense. That's why people can even say that around, Pisces people, is like they may seem, especially if someone has a prominent Neptune or a Pisces ascendant, Pisces Mercury, they may seem like they're on drugs. They may seem like they're talking nonsense. They may seem like, wait, what? What did you just say? And again, that's why Mercury is in fall and Sagittarius and Pisces. So my point is that there's something sometimes about the channeled voice of spirit that doesn't seem to make sense right in that moment. Think of how many like major psychics have made predictions or whatever, and then they get laughed at in the moment, and then it comes true later. It's funny because I was just looking at the Sylvia Browne book where she makes predictions, and before I bought it, I went to look it up to see what the reviews were. And it's so funny because someone left a review in 2019 saying, oh, this book is such a joke. She makes all these crazy predictions. None of it came true, blah, blah, blah. And then a year or 2 later, there was a review from someone, and they said that she had said in 2020, there'll be a widespread illness. A lot of people are going to be wearing masks, and it's hard to find a cure, blah, blah, blah. And all this stuff that ended up coming true in 2020. And it's so funny because before that prophecy came true, she probably looked like a clown. Like, what are you talking about? Right now it's 2019. We're a year out. There's no widespread illness. We're all fine. Nothing like that has happened. Why would we all start wearing masks? You know what I mean? There's sometimes things you can't predict, or things that just seem crazy. I also think back to on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, there was this psychic that made a prediction about one of the women's marriages who was happily married, and she said, you're going to get a divorce and he'll never emotionally fulfill you. And anyone who watches this show knows, finally, it took about 10 years, but now there was a big divorce. And it was such a shocker because everyone thought they were so solid, and they made fun of that psychic and they said, she's crazy. She's nuts. She must have been picking up on someone else's marriage. It couldn't have happened to her. because their marriage is so perfect. And then, of course, it did. But in that moment, she spent maybe a decade where people thought she was just a nut. They were making fun of her. They were laughing at her. And that's the reality. Sometimes when you're speaking the truth or you're channeling something or you are really making a move based on your intuition, it is going to seem like it doesn't make sense. And there's going to be a lot of people there to make fun of you, to jeer at you, to tell you that you're making the biggest mistake of your life or you're a fool. And this is why it's so important to be in touch with your intuition and not what your mom thinks, what your dad thinks, what the statistics say. I always mention, like for me, I'm so glad I never did any research on YouTube before starting my channel, because it kind of annoys me because I'll see so much content around it's impossible to start a YouTube channel nowadays and no one ever makes it on YouTube and only blah, blah, blah percentage of people can start a YouTube channel. And I always think that's so crazy. And I'm glad I didn't like know any statistic, because I think it would have really demoralized me. The reality is that first of all, what is for you is for you, and it's not necessarily what's going to be for anyone else. Someone else's story isn't necessarily your story. You might be able to succeed in a certain arena that someone else may not, and you vice versa. They may be able to do something easily that is really hard for you, and it all depends on your soul destiny, what is meant for you. And that's why it's really important to be in touch with that your own inner voice, not the voice from the outside that is going to look on and have a million reasons and a pros and cons list and blah, blah, blah. So there's just that message for some of you guys of like, you may be hiding from yourself your own potential by not listening to your intuition, not listening to your own inner voice, because I do feel like it's so powerful. Let me get into some of these tarot cards for you. Pile number 2, we want to know what is being hidden from pile number 2. What is being hidden from pile number 2? What is being hidden from pile number 2? Okay, we got the Judgment card and it's reversed. So that could literally be talking about, again, not trusting your own judgment. But again, Judgment card is also a transformation, ending, change, and being resurrected. And you guys may be being resistant to that. We also got the 2 of Wands and the 9 of Wands. Let's get some more cards. Let's see. The 7 of Swords reversed. So someone could be hiding from you their duplicity, or the fact that this person is very competitive with you, which I've been picking up on. Like, I feel like there's people that see your gifts, and this is why I always think it's like, you know, people think it's so far-fetched, like, oh, but your mom could never, she's not trying to sabotage you. That's your mom. It's like, there are totally dysfunctional moms. There are totally dysfunctional dads that would go ahead and sabotage their child. I mean, that happens all the time. Or that's your boyfriend. He's not sabotaging you. That happens all the time. And that's why it's really important to be honest with ourselves and not necessarily go to someone else. Whenever we go to someone else and we give them our power, then they're only going to be able to give us advice from their perspective. They also grew up in a different time. I mean, I really think it's kind of wild to even be trying to get advice from, like, no offense, but like a boomer or something, because they grew up in a completely different world without the internet and all the stuff we have nowadays. So their advice, which might be like, oh, go get a minimum wage job and then buy a home, isn't necessarily going to work for us, you know? So it's really important to be clear on my intuition, and that will guide you through whatever storm. And knowing that sometimes people may not have your best interest at heart, or they may, and they may just not be capable of seeing that vision. But you may literally have haters around you that are sabotaging you. With the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Swords reverse, you may literally have people that don't want to see you succeed, don't want to see you reach the fullness of your destiny and your power. You may have people that want to keep you small and want to keep you kind of tamped down and underneath their thumb in some way. And yeah, also with the Judgment card reversed again, that could be a big change coming your way, happening for you. Pile number 2. So the Judgment card definitely talks about a death and then a rebirth, which is how we transform, how we change. And if that's something you have been afraid of, then your intuition may even be hiding that from you and not allowing you to see that. So again, this is also about having faith in the universe and knowing that any situation that happens to you is going to be working out for your greatest and highest good. And of course, you will be able to handle whatever changes pop up, okay? You've got this. Pile number two. You guys are capable beyond words. And I feel like also your intuition is super on point. This could even be people gaslighting you about that, gaslighting you about your gifts and abilities, trying to tell you like, oh yeah, you're not that great, or yeah, thanks for giving me a tarot reading. Yeah, it was okay. I don't know. It was kind of, and this is why it's really important to either do tarot readings for people who will be supportive, or if you're new to any kind of skill, like if you just started painting, don't show your new painting to your biggest hater or the person who's going to be super critical. Don't show your painting to maybe people with Virgo placements. No, I'm just kidding. I love Virgo placements. But you know, don't show it to someone who's going to offer you a bunch of criticism. Don't show it to someone who, even if they're well-meaning and intentionally trying to be helpful, you know, don't show it to someone who can't just offer you that endless support and be like, oh my God, that's so good. And so make sure that if there's something that's kind of fragile for you, if there's something that you're just starting, that you haven't fully embraced it, you haven't fully leaned into it, and you're not owning that yet, then you're kind of treating that with respect. You're not just showing it to any old person. Let's get some more cards for pile number 2. What is being hidden from pile 2, Spirit? I love how these cards just kind of fly out. 6. Oh, the Lovers. Love that. Okay. The 4 of Swords. And the Strength card. And let's get one final card for you, pile number 2. Okay, the 9 of Cups. Interesting. Yeah, the Lovers, someone could definitely be hiding their intentions. It could be an ex. I also feel like it's also giving me the vibe too of like fans, like someone who's a friend but also a fan, but I'm not necessarily getting the vibe that they're 100% on your side. Like it's giving me the vibe of like there was that movie Single White Female, or someone who is really like into you or impressed by you, but also they kind of copy you. Like that friend that is like, oh my gosh, I love your wardrobe, it's so amazing, but then they end up copying everything, or they end up kind of being competitive with you, or they, you know, you think that they're cheering you on and supporting you at first, and you're like, oh, that's so nice, and then you slowly start to see that there's negativity there. You know, I always think it's funny, like usually you get the biggest hate from people who are like competitors in your field, not necessarily the person that doesn't really care. I notice for me, just personally on my tarot channel, whenever I get like a really negative comment, a lot of times if I go click the person's page, they may have a tarot channel and have like, you know, 30 subscribers or something, and they've been posting for a while. And I always think that's funny because, yeah, it's like, it's rarely a random person. It's so much of the time, whenever someone leaves like a really mean comment, it's someone who's also trying to do this. And it's just funny how that psychology works, right? It's funny how a lot of times that admiration or the respect, or, oh, I like this person, it can almost morph into jealousy because we want that, or why do they have that position and I don't? You know, and we're all capable of that. It's not just something that one person has and I'm so pure and I could never experience that. Like I can get that. I can understand that frustration. But that's why it's really important to be protective of ourselves, and especially if you have a gift in some arena, especially if you're really cute, you know, make sure that you're not surrounding yourself with like a jealous hater friend. So, Spirit is bringing me up like Selena Quinzilla. I hope I'm saying her last name right, but she was a famous singer in the 90s, and then she was unalived by her manager or something, but it was also her best friend. And I guess her best friend said she was like something about jealousy, or she wanted to be her, and it morphed into this. Obviously that's another level, but my point is it's so often it's those people who will pretend to be nice. It will be those people who will get close to you, pretend they want to help you. And that's why it's really important, if you have a special gift or a spark, or you have some beautiful talent about you, not to just let anyone in, and to be protective of yourself and protective of your gifts, because you might doubt them, you might struggle with them, but trust me, everyone else can see it. Everyone else can see the effect you have on other people's energies and how much they are drawn to you. So let's get into some messages for pile number 2, and we want to know all about pile 2. What is being hidden from them? What is being hidden from pile 2? So we got forge, not force. Forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. I love that, because that's what I was saying is, you know, the advice someone else can give you is only the advice that maybe they followed, or that cookie cutter advice. It's the map that they know. It's not necessarily the map you should take. And just because maybe it worked out for them or things flowed rightly for them doesn't mean it's going to be the path that works out for you. So that person that is super happy because they went to law school and they became a top lawyer, and they're telling you, no, you should definitely not try to become a singer in New York City. There's no path that's the only, you know, that's the path they took. That's the path that works for them. But if there's something in your intuition pulling at you, deeply pulling at you, then that's something only you can hear. And that's why you need to be brave enough to forge your own path. And who knows, maybe there's something in that destiny. Maybe you're being called to move to New York City and become a singer, and you're not even actually supposed to end up as a singer, but you're going to meet your husband that way, and he's a drummer in a band, and then you guys meet on the music scene, and then you guys fall in love, and he's your soulmate. You never know what could be contained on that path for you, and whether it ends up exactly like that person is saying, or there's something different that happens. But the point is, you're the only one who can hear that message. And that's why you need to be unafraid to forge your own path, to make your own destiny, and to leave behind, you know, anything that doesn't see that for you. Let's get into some more cards for you. Pile number 2. Messages for pile 2 about what is being hidden from them. What is being hidden from pile 2? Okay, so all paths lead home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. Yes, I love this. And this is what I've been talking about. You have to turn your gaze within, and you really have to listen to yourself. I know for the longest time, I used to try to really output my decisions, like outsource them to friends, to, you know, I would just ask random people sometimes. Like, I feel like sometimes I would get into conversation with someone at the grocery store and then be like, so by the way, what do you think of this? Or, you know, like, I would literally just ask anyone. And I look back now and I think that is so crazy. That is so wild. Like, why didn't I have the faith in myself? And it was a years-long process of really coming to trust my own intuition, trust my own guidance. And then once it happened, it was like I was unstoppable. And now I literally give guidance to others. That's the kind of funny thing. But yeah, I feel like for you guys, there is that message that you are your own inner authority, and no one else can know your path. No one else can know what you should do. And that's why it's so important to learn to trust yourself and to look inward for answers, and to learn to trust your gifts, learn to trust your intuition. Don't outsource that authority, because it's not their life, okay? They're not going to face the consequences of it. If it all goes belly up, you're going to be the one who has to deal with that. That's why you have to take it seriously and kind of take that responsibility for it. You're the only one also who knows your own inner dreams, your own secret desires, your own hopes, your own wishes, your own path that you feel called to. No one else can figure that out for you. And I feel like Spirit is really calling on you to listen to yourself and to maybe sit down, meditate. Maybe this is even you hiding your own deepest desires from yourself. You know, we did get the 9 of Cups reversed, and I feel like for you, or I guess it was upright, but I feel like for you, there is that message of listening to your desires and wishes. The 9 of Cups can be a wish fulfilled. And for you, I feel like there's a message where sometimes you don't even want to go there. You don't even want to listen to what do I really want? Maybe you feel stupid. Maybe when you say, oh, I would love to be a famous actress, you feel like, oh my God, I sound so dumb. Or I'd love to be a YouTuber. I'd love to be a famous author. Or I'd love to find my man of my dreams. You feel like so stupid doing that. And you feel like, oh, I just sound like a bozo. Or I feel so needy. Or I feel so self-centered by even asking for that. And who am I? And I often think that weird denial of desire is why people will leave nasty comments, or why people will hate, or why people will resent. It's because there is still that desire existing inside of themselves. And when it's not expressed healthily, it can turn into envy. When it's not expressed honestly and authentically, then it can turn into something very negative and dark. The reality is we do have the ability to transmute that and to turn it into something so positive by just letting it out into the light, embracing it, and letting it run free. So for you, if there's something you really want, stop denying it for yourself. Even if you don't tell anyone else about it, even if you just, write it in your journal, but take it seriously and deal with it and open yourself up to it and stop running away from it. Let's get some more messages for you. Pile number 2. What is being hidden from pile 2? So we got activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. And we got karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. So I love the activated earth card, especially bringing up the ley lines, because I think it's so cool how many things were built on ley lines, even though technically, like, how would people have known back in the day, right? Like, they didn't have whatever way there is to measure ley lines, electromagnetic frequency or whatever. They didn't have modern technology, but there are so many things like Stonehenge built on major ley lines. I think Sedona is on one of the ley lines, Sedona, Arizona, which if you ever go to, there's a bunch of like spiritual sites. There's so many different things. Like, it's absolutely wild hearing about all the things that are on the ley lines. I think Bali, the island of Bali, is on a ley line. Obviously, it's a big island, but my point is that there's so many like spiritual centers on these ley lines. And even though people didn't know back then, they didn't necessarily have like electromagnetic frequency or some tool to measure these things. They knew intuitively, this is a spiritual spot, this is powerful, this is important, and they could feel it in their bones. And that's why they were willing to do these things and go to all this effort to build something as monumental and huge and massive as Stonehenge, and like mind-boggling, like, how did people do that? But they were willing to do that because they knew and they trusted their own intuition, and they could feel the energy was different in that spot. And that's the point, is like, for thousands of years, people have operated without needing to have all these modern tools and data and science. And I'm not saying we don't have a place for data and science and statistics and whatnot, but there's also that place for our intuition, for listening to ourselves. And a lot of times that takes us there in half the time, right? Like, we don't need to wait for all the statistics to come out because we already know that. Just like those people back in the day, thousands of years ago, were able to build Stonehenge before there was ever like data on that area and people ever had drafted it up and been like, oh, wait a minute, there's something weird here. They already knew, and they were willing to listen and even go to so much work and pour all that energy into it based on their own inner feeling. There's something here, and trusting that. Maybe they did downloads and meditations. Maybe they talked to deities, old Druidic deities and Celtic deities that told them, build it here. But however they arrived at it, they listened to it. They listened to their intuition. They listened to their inner guidance, and that led them to those decisions, which were exactly right. And now we have the science backing up that there is something very powerful and spiritual about that specific area and all the other areas along the ley lines. So I feel like for you guys, there is that message of just trusting the process, trusting where you're going, and not letting anyone else, no longer outsourcing your power to anyone else. Because some of these people are karmic relationships. Some of these people don't actually have your best interest at heart. They may be operating from that place of selfishness. They may be trying to get ahead for themselves. They may even not want you to succeed because they are trying to succeed. They are trying to be the powerful one or the best one in the group. And they don't want to see you get all that attention. They don't want to see you get all that success. That's why it's going to be so important for you guys to start taking your own power back, because you are so intuitive. Pile number 2, you can also embrace this change of the ending that wants to happen in your life. That's going to be very powerful for you as well. So that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I really hope that resonates. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon to watch all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about your future life with your spouse or your next relationship. And before that, I posted a brutally honest reading about a connection. So if you want a big dose of reality about a certain connection, situationship, ex, whatever, then that's a great one to watch. But there are so many readings over on Patreon. Like I said, over 95, and you also get early access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you and you want to sign up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you want a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be tarot focused, astrology, opened channeled messages, or a combination of all three, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile three, welcome to your reading. So you guys got the 10 of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, the 5 of Wands, and finally the High Priestess. So what's coming through right away is there may be a situation that you are ready to leave, or maybe especially if it's a situation in which you have put a lot of work in, or there has been a ton of conflict, like maybe it has been a difficult situation and you've always felt like you were fighting, like you were just having to put work in and it was just kind of exhausting, that situation may be ready to be over. I also could see a situation for some of you guys, on the other hand, in which there's a situation in which you have a lot of potential and it's almost like you're not realizing how much potential you have. I feel like one common factor is you guys are being hidden from how much work you put in and how much work you do. It's almost reminding me of like a mom that she, cooks and cleans so much every night, and she has a husband who doesn't want her to realize how much free labor she's giving and how much more work she's doing than he's doing. So he may never validate her. Instead of being like, oh my gosh, babe, thank you so much. I can't believe you made dinner again and you cleaned the dishes. Wow, I have the best wife ever. I'm so lucky. He may have a vested interest in going the other direction and talking about like, oh, you didn't do that much. No, I mean, dinner was okay. It honestly wasn't very good. Did you put too much salt in? And kind of like knocking her down, because if he says, babe, you do literally everything and like my life is dependent on you and I couldn't even run a day in this household without you, then he might be afraid that she might see her worth and value and she might start thinking like, yeah, you're right. He really doesn't do a lot around this house. He really doesn't help me that much. So maybe I should like not tolerate this anymore. Maybe I can find a guy who makes more money or is cuter or does more work or is more valuable or just appreciates me more and treats me kinder. And so it's like he has a vested interest in not making her realize how much work she's doing. And I feel like there's something around that's being hidden from you, like your level of work that you put in is being hidden from you, so you're not as aware of it. And how hard you fought for certain things. Like, I feel like you have so much value and it's not being acknowledged. There's someone that isn't wanting you to know or pull back or realize. Or sometimes you see like a really gorgeous girl with a guy, and not to be shallow or judgmental, but maybe he's not as cute, but maybe you'd be like, oh, well, I'm sure he treats her really well because, looks aren't everything, but I bet he treats her really nice. And then half the time he's actually so mean to her and he's negging her, he's putting her down. Why? Because again, it works for his favor, that she doesn't realize how valuable she is. She doesn't realize how gorgeous and stunning she is, and that she's kind of technically a little out of his league. So it maybe is better for her to think, oh, I'm not that cute, and I couldn't probably find a partner I'm super attracted to. So I'll just settle for this guy who treats me bad, isn't very attractive, isn't on my level. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a vibe with that with you, of like you really being this star or this person who brings so much to the table, and someone or something not wanting you to see that. Or maybe it's like sometimes you see those infuriating posts and it'll be like, this employee at a fast food place never missed a day of work for 30 years, and they'll give the man as like a thank you, like a coupon to Burger King or something, or they'll give them like a happy thank you so much email, and that's it, and it's always sad because it's like, oh my God, you don't even realize the value this man is giving you, and the fact that you just want to like come up to this man who's so reliable and so responsible and shows up for work every single day for 30 years, doesn't miss a day of work, and you want to tell him like, sir, you could be working at such a better company and making so much more money, and so many companies are looking like someone looking for someone like you who's so loyal and who gives their all to this company, and instead you're working for this company that takes you for granted, doesn't care, and probably doesn't even want you to realize what a huge rare accomplishment that is to never miss a day of work in 30 years. And I feel like there's that message for you where there's situations where you really put work in and you do so much for people around you, and it just not being acknowledged and not being reciprocated and not being returned to you. And like, you don't even realize how much you do, how much you help manage, and what a catch you are. For some of you guys, this is like being a catch, be it romantically, be it in the workplace. I feel like you are someone that so many people would be so lucky to have around them and to have working for them or in a relationship with them. And you don't even realize you're having that hidden from you, and maybe even made to think, oh, this is just normal. Like in a relationship, we fight all the time, or at a job, it's just depressing. And yeah, like no one gets lunch breaks. That's just how it is. And that's just normal at every company. Or there's always a, dysfunctional boss and he always screams in people's faces. But that's just how it is when you're working. People get frustrated. And it's like, you don't even realize that like that's not normal. And you don't have to put up with that. Or it's not normal to have your boyfriend treat you badly or say demeaning things to you. Or if you have a husband and you really love roses and you've asked several times, like, oh, can you get me a bouquet of flowers? And he never brings you flowers ever. That's also not necessarily normal. And even if certain things are normalized, you can still deserve better than that. So it doesn't even matter if it's normal. The point is, if you're putting in so much work, then you may deserve better. Like maybe it's normal to get paid, minimum wage if you work for a certain company. But if you're that guy who's been going to work every day for 30 years, you don't deserve to get that normal wage. You deserve to get more. Or if you're that partner that's putting in so much work and doing so much for the relationship, you deserve some of that credit. You deserve to be treated like a queen, not like just an afterthought or like someone who doesn't really matter. So yeah, I feel like there's a message of you putting in work. And even for some of you guys, there could be a message around you not realizing your worth and value in a certain arena. Like maybe in your field, you think, yeah, like I do an okay job and whatever, but I'm not that great. And like, there's other people around you who can see your potential. There's other people around you who realize how special you are and how much you do bring to the table. And there are other people that I feel like can see like, wow, pile number 3 is really bringing it. Pile number 3 really has this gift. And it's like, you just think of yourself as like a regular schmegular. I'm not doing that much, or I don't have that much to offer, and not really seeing the forest for the trees. It's reminding me of like, sometimes you'll hear a story about someone bought a, super special painting that was like something by Matisse or something by some grand old master painter or something, Thomas Cole or whatever. And it's up in someone's attic and they don't know where it's from. And so they sell it for like $30 or $10. And then maybe that person has an eye and they see the value and they're like, oh my God, I think I could sell this for $1 million. And it ends up being like such a valuable item. But it's like, there's someone who takes it out and thinks, yeah, this is an okay painting, whatever, it's probably worth $40, whatever. And, I feel like there's that vibe with you of you not seeing yourself and you not seeing what other people can see and how much you bring to the table and how valuable and special you are. So I want to try to fix my microphone a little because I feel like I just can't get my microphone right. So I hope there's no interference and you guys don't hear a lot of like fuzz or anything. But anyway, if you do, I apologize. Let's get into some more cards for you. Pile number 4. So what is being hidden from pile number 3? Excuse me, pile 3, not pile 4. Pile 3, just shouting out random numbers over here. So we got letting go of urgency, surrender, freedom from time constraints. Okay. What is being hidden from pile 3? Why do I keep wanting to say pile 4? Maybe because 4 is a number of foundation. It's a number of security. It's a number of success. And I see that for you guys as we get the prosperity, abundance, success card. What is being hidden from pile 4? Pile 3. Oh my gosh. What the heck is going on? What is going on? What is being hidden from pile 3? Conscious steps, considered action, looking forward. This makes a lot of sense because I was already thinking one of my interpretations is you may be feeling as well, Archangel Haniel, joy, blessings, intuition, like you're ready to give up on something with that 10 of Swords coming out. And there is a message that's what's being hidden from you is a long-term success. Archangel Zadkiel, self-acceptance, compassion, forgiveness. There could be a message as well that you're wanting certain things to happen on a certain timeline, or you're really wanting things to be like so perfect and they have to look a certain way. And there is that message that maybe what's being hidden from you is like the long-term potential here. It's interesting you got letting go of urgency, surrender, freedom from time constraints, because I am getting like a rushed vibe. And I feel like for some of you guys, this could be even thinking, you know, like this situation isn't happening the way I wanted, or it's not happening on my timeline, or it doesn't look exactly like I thought it was going to look, and feeling this sense of that's some indication that it's not going to work out, or that's some indication that it's not for me. Like if I didn't, you know, find a job in 6 months, then I'm just going to give up in this field. Or if I don't reach the top of this industry within 2 years, then I'm done. You know what I mean? Some kind of time constraint feeling, or feeling like you have to be at a certain point in your life, feeling like there's an age limit, or like I thought I was going to be at this goal by this age and now I'm there and I'm really not happy and I haven't accomplished that and I'm so upset. And I feel like there's a message for you of like, you don't even realize how big this is going to be. You don't even realize how special it is. And a big part of it for you is going to be letting go of that micromanaging energy of feeling like everything has to look a certain way or everything has to happen on a certain timeline. And instead, let me just make sure my microphone, this is so annoying, making sure instead that you're understanding that spirit has its own timeline and that spirit is going to allow things to happen and unfold in the right time for you. So that may not look like the same timeline as everyone else. And I always, one of my favorite quotes that I just personally, that I tell myself always is like, life is long. And by that I mean, you know, you never know what may happen. There are people that 1 year they look like they're on top of the world, everything's amazing, they have the perfect life, and a year later they're like getting a divorce or their career fell. Like think of someone like, and this is just recent and no offense to her or anything, I'm just picking her as a random example, but like Blake Lively, and she was like kind of on top of the world like a year ago and then recently had like a lot of PR, like a total PR cluster F for her, a total PR mess, downfall. And now she has like her career's in jeopardy is what people say. So my point is that, like I said, a life is long. You never know that someone may look like they're completely on top of the world now, and then something happens that takes them off this pedestal, and vice versa. Someone may look like they're completely failing at life and nothing is going right and they're such a clown, and then randomly they blow up, you know, or something amazing happens. Like think of on the other side of that spectrum, someone like Chapel Roan, who, you know, had been like trying to make it big for a while, nothing was happening with her career, and then boom, overnight she kind of blows up. She starts selling out these huge venues, and it's like over the course of a summer goes from like a nobody to a big name. And that's my point, is like you never really know, and that's kind of the fun of life. And I feel like there's a message for you is, if you knew exactly how big everything would be or how much of a success you would be, I don't think you would doubt or question that. And I feel like you would have more faith in the process of whatever this is, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a career thing. I feel like for you, there is a message that in some ways you don't even realize like how good it's going to get or how special it's going to be and how much it's going to be a big joy and an unfolding that I feel like is going to benefit you so much, and you're going to be super glad to a certain extent that you had that patience to wait it out and you didn't just, you know, go with like the first moment of panic of like, oh, it's not working out the way I thought, or it was supposed to be this. Let me get into some tarot for you. Pile number 3. Pile 3. No more pile 4. We remember the pile name. So pile 3, what is being hidden from them? The King of Wands. Okay. Let's get a few cards. So we got the Page of Swords, Queen of Wands, the Temperance card, and let's pull just a couple more for pile 4. What is being hidden from them? The Two of Cups, okay, and then we have the Three of Pentacles over here, as well as the Justice card and the Fool card. Great. So yeah, it's interesting because I feel like the Fool is such a great example of that energy that I'm talking about, where it's almost like if you knew everything that was going to happen on that journey, you might not even ever sign up for it. Like if you knew as the Fool you were going to have to go through the Death card, the Tower card, the Judgment card, so many of the cards that involve incredibly deep transformation or trauma, or like the Devil card, all these kind of more negative cards or intense cards. Not that any tarot card is fully negative, but you might not ever sign up for that. Like obviously a lot of people might love to experience the Lover's card or some of the more really positive, happy cards in the tarot, but if the Fool knew of all the parts of that journey and all the difficult times it would go through, it may have never set out. And that's why it's actually called the Fool, because technically it could have been called a lot of different things, like the Clown or the Jester, but the reason why it's the Fool is because you have to be a fool in order to even set out on this journey. Because if you actually knew everything you were going to go through, all the challenges you were going to face, all the difficulty, you would probably never step foot. You would probably never venture out in the first place. So you kind of need to be unassuming and not know what's going on. And that's a big part of it. And I feel like that's the message for you, is maybe there's something in your life that you're feeling a lot of uncertainty about, or you're kind of like, I'm kind of like losing my mind, overthinking. We did get the Page of Swords, which can talk about definitely overthinking. And there may be something that you keep trying to like ruminate on over and over. The Ten of Swords can definitely talk about that as well. And for you, this could be that message that like, as long as I feel like it feels intuitively right. And that's the thing, is so much of the time our intuition does give us either that green light or that red light. Either the situation feels good or it doesn't. Either it feels like it's in alignment with us or it doesn't. Either we get that message that we're on that right path and we learn to trust and listen to our intuition, or it stops feeling that way and it starts feeling like a red light. No, don't go here. Stop, move on. And I feel like you need to know as well that like sometimes it's okay to not know the whole story. Sometimes it's okay to not know the whole unfolding or not know every detail. I think sometimes, especially when we're embarking on something new, be it a new relationship with that Two of Cups or a new career journey or whatever, it can be really hard because we definitely want to know all the details. We definitely want to know all the facts. Like I'm being reminded right now of when I've gone on cross-country road trips in the US, and of course the US being a really big country, sometimes you'll get on a road and it'll say like, oh, 200 miles from now or 800 miles or something crazy, some crazy amount. And it can be really hard, I think, because there's that party that almost gets anxious. Like, what do you mean 200 miles? Or, you know, is this road going to stay the same? Or there's that instinct to go through and see all the exits and be like, okay, so, but wait, in 200 miles, do I turn left or do I take a different road, or what route am I taking? And there's this urge or this instinct to like, I need to figure out every detail. I need to know exactly what's going to happen, even though you probably don't even know the names of all the different interstates. It wouldn't mean anything for you if they say, take exit 43. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, exit 43 in New Mexico. Yes, of course, I know exactly where that is. You're just having to trust, but that can feel so scary. And there's always this instinct to look ahead and plan out every detail and know every facet of it. But I feel like so much of using or being on that spiritual path is just trusting that one step in front of the time, or one step in front of each other, one step at a time. It reminds me, like Oprah has this book called The Path Appears. And I think it's her book that's a bunch of quotes on how to find your career, how to find your destiny. I bought that book, but I can't remember, like, I don't think I actually opened it and read it. But anyway, I do have it. But I just loved the title so much, The Path Appears, because I honestly think that is such a crucial part of how destiny unfolds. Is like the path appears in front of you. It's almost like you take big steps, like I'm reminded of when I was growing up. My family had like a long driveway, but then we had this path leading to the front door, obviously, and we had these really big stones that, was, I guess, what my parents chose. They didn't want like the smaller little pebble stones or the smaller, like a foot wide, like artful stones. They wanted these big rectangular stones. So it was like kind of like more of an impression or something. I don't know. Anyway, the stones were pretty wide, and you kind of like make a thing sometimes about not stepping on any of the cracks, kind of jumping from stone to stone. And that's what I always get. That's what I always see in my mind when I hear the path appears, is when you're looking down and jumping, you can only see one stone at a time. You can only focus on each one. So that's what you're going to do. You're just going to focus on each stone, knowing that each of them are going to appear in front of you. Even if you're not fully facing, even if you're not fully staring off into the distance and seeing every stone, it's going to lead you to that front door. It's going to lead you to the right destination. And that's what I'm seeing in my mind, is like jumping from stone to stone and trusting that process, and maybe having that patience to take it one step at a time as well, with the Temperance card coming through. The Temperance card can definitely talk about things unfolding in the right timeline, and also needing to have that patience, also needing to understand that sometimes certain things are up in the air, or it may not seem to make sense now. I'm also reminded of like painting, because I did a lot of painting in high school. And anyway, when you paint, a lot of times, like the piece, I mean, this goes for all art, like pottery, painting, whatever. But so much of the time, when you have to do it piece by piece, step by step, it's not gonna really look super good at the beginning. Like, it's gonna be a bunch of blocked out shapes, if you're trying to get the shapes right first, and then you go fill in the detail. But maybe there's detail on like one part of the, painting, and then there's detail on another part of the painting, and you shaded and did shadows for one thing, and then there's just blank for the other part. Or maybe you haven't added the exact order of colors. Maybe you're coming through and adding all the greens at a certain point, or all the reds at a certain point. So there's going to be times when that painting looks really kind of janky. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really look good. And if someone came in and saw it, they may be like, oh, okay, what's happening here? Oh, this is nice. And they may be thinking, oh, this person is a horrible painter. This looks so bad. And it's only when it's fully completed and you've gone through and added all the little details and all the shadows and everything is done and dusted that it's actually going to really make sense, and it's going to look super beautiful. And I feel like that's the message for you guys as well, is like, there's certain things happening for you around your life right now that may be hidden for you for a reason. Like, if you only understood how big of a blessing, how good things were going to be, how powerful things were going to be, you might even be scared to like lean into it. You may be scared to embrace this situation. I feel like for you, you're being called to really have patience and also be willing to learn, or being willing to be open to it as well. But again, this could also be a situation where you're being called to pause, reset, and cut it off. If you feel really drained, if you feel like you're done with this situation, I feel like, there is that message as well with the Ten of Swords, that maybe it's time for some of you guys to kind of pause and be like, okay, I'm over this. I poured my energy into this situation. It's not working. In which case, there's always going to be more abundance in the universe. There will always be a new situation to pivot to give your energy to, and you don't need to keep pouring it into a situation that, is depleting you or draining you or just isn't working out. Let me get some message cards for you. Pile number 3. So we want to know what messages we have for pile 3 about what is being hidden from them. What is being hidden from pile 3? So we got Whale and Orca Elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. What is being hidden from pile 3, Spirit? Okay, we got 2. The Cosmic Heart, devotion, potency, make your life a moving portrait. a moving prayer, excuse me. I don't know why I said portrait. And then this one is, you're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community. So if you're feeling alone, pile 3, that's a big one, okay? You are not alone in this. You don't need to accept bad treatment if that's being directed at you. Also called, soul gifts and training. It's time to step up. Yeah, I feel like there is that message for some of you guys that, like, if you're in a situation where someone really isn't appreciating you, someone really isn't getting you, that you really shouldn't be afraid to like reinvent yourself, call a spade, and accept the situation for what it is. So if there's something where you feel very alone, or you feel like you can't tell anyone about it, or you feel like you just have to deal with this and it's really stressing you out, there's also that message that's coming to my mind of like, you have so many other options. And again, I feel like that's something Spirit really wants you to realize is you are very special, you are very powerful, and you're also being protected by the angels. This is the most angel cards I've gotten for anyone. Okay, we got Archangel Zadkiel and Archangel Haniel. So you guys have a lot of angels around you at this moment. You are not out in the cold. You are not left alone. I feel like for you, this is also about, like I said, sometimes being willing to do that soul growth work, being willing sometimes to push yourself. And sometimes the times when we feel like it's not working out, the times when we feel like we're at our wit's end, it's almost like it's always darkest before dawn. And that's when we have that beautiful moment of realization and happiness and joy. And you know, that's why also as well, it's really the darkest during like Pisces season, maybe beginning of Aries season, but usually Pisces season. And then that's when the beautiful brightness of spring comes. So sometimes it's when we feel like I'm at my wit's end, I can't do this anymore, there's nothing left for me, and there's still something in there that we're supposed to learn, that we're supposed to transmute, transform in ourselves, that we're working through, and not to be afraid of embracing that process, not to be afraid of embracing those moments, because sometimes it is those times when we feel like, oh, nothing is working out for me. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is a signal that this isn't for me. Maybe this is my message from Spirit that I'm supposed to move on and shift to something else. But actually that situation could be alchemizing and transforming you. You know, it's interesting as well. We did get the Temperance card, which does talk about alchemy. And alchemy has that principle, which is, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something about coagulate. So it's about separating, and then it's about reunifying. It's about destroying something to build it back up. And I feel like for you, you guys are being called that sometimes when we feel like we're being destroyed, sometimes when we feel like we are having a reduction to ourselves, or we are having something taken away from us or ruined or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that this process is working against us. That sometimes is just a part of the process of us becoming something bigger and better and becoming exactly what our destiny is going to be. And I feel like for you guys, there is that message that whenever we feel sometimes like we're being a little bit destroyed, or like we are having a moment of like a tower moment, sometimes that is that transformation, that the tower is being burned down for a reason. And by that I mean sometimes there are moments when we feel super challenged, when we feel like, oh, I'm just so frustrated, I can't do anything right, or this isn't working out like I thought, or you know, everything is just frustrating to me, or I'm not good at this. I find like I play this online memory game to help with my memory and be good for like my mind. And anyway, I find that whenever they give me like a new level, like a new list of things to memorize, I always hate that. Like I'm always like, oh, this is so annoying. I don't know if I like this game. Maybe I should never play it again. And then once I've done that round a few times, it's like, oh, this is so easy. I love this game again. And what I found was I realized kind of narcissistically that I just hate that moment when I'm struggling. I'm like, I don't know where anything is. I haven't figured it out yet. I can't remember anything. And then of course, once I've got that down and I've mastered that level, then suddenly it becomes fun again. And that's so true to life. Sometimes when we're in that moment of discomfort, or when we're learning something new, it can feel really challenging to our spirit. that doesn't mean it's not for us. That doesn't mean it's not good. Sometimes a little challenge is okay. Sometimes pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone or trying or mastering something new, that's actually a good thing. And that's actually heading us into our destiny. So don't be afraid to embrace that process, and don't be afraid to go with the flow. Even if you are feeling a little challenged, that's okay. And that's a part of kind of stepping up to the plate and achieving our destiny. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 3. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about your future life with your spouse or your next relationship, as well as one about the brutal truth about this connection. So if you want a dose of reality and cold water about a connection, ex, situationship, whatever that is, then you will be able to get it in that reading. But like I said, there are so many readings over on Patreon, and you also get early access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you want to book a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, a tarot reading, astrology reading, open channeling reading, combination of all three, whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live, you get to really customize your session, so it's the perfect time slot for you. If that sounds good and you would like to book a time with me, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.